is reassuringly terrified by it, which makes me think that he's actually listened to it properly in order to go.
Yeah, I guess if he came back, it was just me like, yeah, sure, why not? Sounds like fun. You know, you would know that he hasn't actually like checked everything
out. Exactly that. There was a drummer from London. I mean, it was a kind of annoying, you know. We had this drummer from London who's like a jazz fusion drummer, but he's amazing. And he said, "Oh yeah, definitely up for it. Okay, you sure? Yeah."
Did you listen to it?
Okay. He's like, "Yeah, I've listened to it. Absolutely bonkers. Well up for it. Right, because if you're up for it, I'm going to start booking the tour. So have you got these dates free? Yeah, they're free. So I'm going to book the tour. Yeah, book it. Okay, book the tour. Hey, ma'am, book the tour. Oh yeah, I don't think I'm going to have time to do this project. You fucking knob."
That's when you know that he listened to it. Welcome to the 89th episode of the Cast That Ends Creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering. This is the show where I interview bands and public figures from the mathcore adjacent communities. If you beautiful people in chat have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in. I'll try to read them aloud. If you like this up for $5, you get access to some exclusive emotes, as well as access to all the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming services. You can also sub for free by attaching Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. It's like taking $5 from Jeff Bezos' pocket and putting it into mine. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this in your car and have no idea what I'm talking about, the show is first shown live on Twitch. Join us every Sunday and Wednesday at twitch.tv/thecast@ends-creation for the live cast. With that out of the way, let me introduce our guest today who dropped their debut album, Stalker, which dropped last Friday through APF Records. Welcome in Utopia. How's it going, guys?
Hey, good.
Yo.
Hey.
Good to meet you.
So tell us who you are, what you do in the band. I guess we'll start with John.
I'm John, and I'm a guitarist and write the stuff for Utopia, and I am a prolific botherer of everybody else in the band and text them many times a day. Yeah, that's it.
I guess Chris.
Cool. Yeah, go.
My name's Chris Reese. John asked me to scream and shout on the record, and I accepted, and here I am now.
Aaron, and I try and play the bass parts that John's written.
Try, so I guess
Best of my ability.
I guess there's something that's a little bit outside your abilities, then, huh?
Well, no, but it's it's just hard.
I got you. So I'm gonna put you on blast for a second here, because I give bands with generic names a bit of a hard time in the beginning, and you guys have one of the more generic names that I've come across. For instance, typing in Utopia on Bandcamp gives you 14 other results besides you guys. You're the 14th result on there, and just typing Utopia Band, you aren't even on the first 4 pages of Google. So why'd you go with such a generic name? Aren't you afraid you're gonna get lost in the shuffle?
Do you remember that? Does anybody remember that Alan Partridge episode where they say, what is it? He's trying to pitch a new show to the BBC, and he said, "What about another detective show?" And the guy says, "No, there's already like saturated with detective shows." And Alan Partridge says, "Well, then surely that means if they like it, give them even more of it." So.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, I mean, no, but it's a valid point. So I just want to defend this decision now, because it's come up once or twice. Not that much, but it's come up once or twice. The word utopia refers. I mean, it's an ancient word in the first place. So no one has ownership of it's like having ownership of the word because it's just it's a word, and it's the interpretation of utopia. I chose a name as it references the Thomas More book of 1515 called Utopia. And it kind of, it's like a metaphor for neurodiversity and mental health and people in the world trying to get along together, and all the failings and all the successes and just the spectrum of people attempting to lead normal lives or good lives or be happy. And so utopia is it's a nice, short, succinct word that is an umbrella over all of the subject matter that we talk about lyrically. and the kind of, the chaos of the music and the nice bits of the music. It's all ties into the concept.
It does have a good ring to it. And it definitely matches like your sound. Just I'd be afraid that you get lost in like all the other bands.
Fuck 'em.
So your Facebook
It
started.
does happen. I mean, we just call ourselves Utopia UK or in brackets so that people know that which one we are. So
when I first saw y'all, I don't know how I found it, but your name to me was Utopia the band. That's what I was like thinking that y'all were called, and then looking into it, I was just like, oh, it's just Utopia, but somebody tacked on the band. It'd actually be a good way to separate yourselves, call yourselves Utopia the band. I'm just saying.
Well, I think it was just my terrible social media technical abilities as I was single finger typing it into the Facebook name when I was setting up the page, Utopia : band, and they'll know what that is. Okay. I kind of stuck with it. But, it's fine.
So the Facebook started in April last year. Is that about when you guys got together, or how did y'all come together?
Yeah, it was March or April last year. And I think that's when. Does that sound right? Yeah, March or April last year. And that's kind of when I started writing stuff, and then that's when I first asked Reese to join, and then Aaron, and then we got all the other guests involved, sort of in the 6-month period that followed that. Okay,
so this was like born out of your mind then, and you like spread it out to other people. You got other people involved in it.
Yeah.
So why not just do it yourself? Why did you bring in other people?
Well, because I can't scream as well as Reese. I can't play the bass as well as Aaron. I can't drum full stop. I can't program synth soundscapes like Thomas Harrison can, who did all that. Nor can I produce as well as Rob. So in order to make it, I can play the guitar, and everything else just has to be. I mean, for practical reasons, if we want to do the gigs, I wanted this to be a proper full band that would go out and play. And it's nice. You know what it's like. It's nice to just be making music with people.
Yeah. So how did you all find each other?
So me and Reese have known each other since we were 18. And we were in the first band, proper bands that we did, me and Reese were in. It was like a grindcore band. It was like somewhere between like a grindcore band and Willhaven, I guess is how it started. Kind of doomy, sludgy stuff. And Aaron I only met, or I only have known about since this project, and somebody just recommended him. I put the word out on Facebook and someone said, a couple of people actually said Aaron is the man for this. So I got in touch with Aaron and he was up for it, and that's just kind of how it worked.
Damn, okay, pretty easy. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite easy actually. I mean, it was quite easy to get the core of the band together, but then to get the other things beyond that, getting Billy Reimer involved or Bard involved, or in fact Lee from Fawn Limbs, who you had on the other day, Lee was dead easy to get involved. He just said, yeah, definitely, let's do it.
He seems like the kind of guy that'd be like that.
Oh, he's just such a nice dude, yeah.
And we're definitely going to talk about the guests you had on this album. Just want to say this is a hell of a debut, though. Like, it's super complicated. Like, most bands don't put out something this strong as their debut. Like, so good and mature. Like, it's amazing. The project should have been way more popular than it is. Like, I'm surprised it doesn't have the bigger footprint than it deserves. It's definitely near the top of my list, honestly, for this year so far. Like, it's so freaking good, guys. It's so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks, man.
So what are the big influences going into this? For me, I can hear like a bit of like Pink Floyd-ish stuff in here, Between the Buried and Me, that kind of thing. Maybe some Protest a Hero type of stuff. What are the big influences going into this?
I mean, I'll tell you my idea of what my influences were, and then maybe Aaron and Chris can talk about their influences personally. But my influences for this, you see, it's kind of, you get very protective over your baby, and that's kind of how I feel about it, because for the past 15 years, I haven't played any metal or any extreme music whatsoever at all. You know, when I was 20, I started studying jazz and then went to college and studied jazz, did my master's in jazz. And then that's all I played, jazz and classical music. And that's all the gigs that I did were either jazz or classical or sessions or theatre work. I'm a working guitarist. That's kind of what I did. But my personal influences with regard to this album would be Mahler and Prokofiev from the classical sense. They've got the musical structures that is inherent in their music, particularly stuff like the Russian Overture, Prokofiev Russian Overture, or Mahler Fifth. I mean, any Mahler really, or the Rucket Leaders from Mahler. They're just so beautifully structured. So first of all, there's like this framework of how do I want this music to be structured? And I want it to be structured in layers like Mahler and Prokofiev is, where everybody in the band is playing the role almost of like an orchestral section, like the string first violin section or the cello section or whatever section it is. And they're all playing complementary stuff. It's like arranging music for a string quartet or orchestrating music for an orchestra. It isn't just like, we're all going to play this riff, we're all going to do that.
Right.
I want this to be kind of threads of things that are their own voices in the mix, doing their own things. Now, in terms of the extreme nature of the music, obviously, it would be neglectful of me to not mention Calculating Infinity, because that Dillinger album is the bedrock of, I guess, this type of genre, the extreme. In this way,
definitely.
it's impossible not to mention them. But when you listen to the album, I heard another reviewer on a podcast talking about this, and they kind of kept mentioning Dillinger. But I don't think this album sounds anything like Dillinger, really. There's obviously the genetics, the DNA is present, as the DNA of fucking Metallica is present in it, or however far you want to go back. You know, it's a big musical inheritance that we're all subscribing to. But there's elements of black metal, death metal, classical music, a lot of jazz, obviously, prog stuff, grindcore. There's all sorts of stuff in there.
So if you hadn't been listening to metal, why did you want to do this project?
Because I haven't been playing metal, but I've certainly been listening to.
Okay, I got you. I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. So I still, but then I love, one of my favorite albums of all time is Adrenaline by Deftones. I just love that album. It's so grim and harsh and sort of just uneasy and unsettling, and I love that album. So I wanted to try and capture that sort of uneasy, really aggressive, sort of emotional, depressive thing, but smash into it all the jazz and classical music that I've been playing over the past 10 years. And this was the time, coronavirus, to do this album, really, because I'd done a few albums under my own name, jazz quartets and quintets and stuff with strings. And this just felt like a good opportunity.
Just sitting around at home being like, fuck it, let's make some metal. I like it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it. But I mean, our individual influences are kind of different. So, Aaron and, I don't know, Chris, Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost like the opposite of John, whereas I play a lot of metal gigs, but I listen to a lot of classical and jazz. So like the complete opposite. I've got a band, Vervum, which is a Swiss band. We toured the US with Archspire a couple of years ago, and so on. So that's one of the bands I play a lot with. Also, it was De Profundis as well, which is another UK death metal band. I've just joined Viparsi. We're going to be recording that soon, which is with some of the guys from Nobile Viscaris, instrumental project.
God
so I do
damn,
a lot of
dude, that's so much shit. Holy crap.
There's a lot of bands, but it's all metal stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's all got there's
That's
this
enough, Aaron. That's enough now.
Yeah, no, that is actually it. But then there's a lot of atmospheric elements underneath everything, and because I'm playing fretless on pretty much all those projects, that's kind of where my influences are coming from. It's coming from that maybe that cynic angle, the kind of more progressive stream where I'm trying to play and make my bass sound like another instrument within the band rather than being a frequency that fills a space under the guitars. And that's what I quite liked, the way the project came together and the lines that kind of came together when like John was writing, basically.
You can definitely hear the bass on this, and it's not just like
I had to fight for that, but yeah, I had to fight for that because originally the first mix, I'm not saying like there was anything wrong with it, but the first mix with a lot of the stuff I get involved with is let's take the bass and we're going to throw it through all the standard bass plugins, which basically just ends up with like the high, it's like a scooped super low sound just to make the guitar sound heavier, and then you can kind of hear the finger noise on the top to work out what's going on. I don't have anything wrong with that sound, but it's not the sound I hear in my head. So I had to try and move the way the mix was sounding to kind of like, let's try and keep like literally as pure a DI sound as we possibly can. It's not completely pure. There's going to be like distortion elements on there and so on, but I tried to ask within the mix to try and get that more mid-rangey sound because I'm playing a fretless. So I want that kind of more mid-rangey sound to kind of cut through the guitars, but in a good way that allows you to actually like literally hear all the notes I'm playing. Where sometimes you can't hear that, sometimes with the bass when it's kind of filling the meatiness of the guitars. Right. I don't think there's really any parts that I'm actually literally playing the same as John. There's probably like a couple of bits, but most of it, 90% of it, I'm playing something different to the guitar, like John's saying, as an arrangement. So he's playing one thing, I'm playing another thing. There might be another guitar playing something else, and then the synths are doing something else, and then Reese singing a completely different rhythm over the top of that, and then we kind of all land in the same place. At the
it's
end
complicated
of the
as shit.
Yeah, but it's great. But that's kind of the angle I've kind of come from, is I'm trying to get the fretless thing and I'm trying to make it sound as pure, like almost like I'm trying to make it sound like an acoustic instrument. I'm trying to make it kind of like fingers on the bass, that sound just louder. What I sound like unplugged, louder on the album. So that's the angle I'm coming from. And a lot of my heroes are trying to do that same thing. My solos, because I've got a few solos on the album, which is quite nice. They're all kind of got this Alan Holdsworthy kind of element that I'm throwing in there, which I know is another one of John's heroes as well. So I'm always coming in with a slightly different element to like regular bass playing, I suppose. But it's nice that I'm mixed loud enough that you can actually hear that on this record. So I'm pretty happy.
The bass actually gives it the big prog feel. Like I hear like Yes and like Pink Floyd and shit like that.
I thought you might mention that. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Yes. Yeah, I've met a few of the guys from Yes as well, because they're all British guys. So, but yeah, it's that's big band. One of my favorite bands, that one. King Crimson as well. I'm a big prog guy, basically. So
hell yeah,
I like my King Crimson and Yes and everything like that. UK 70s.
Soft Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris? Where do you get the vocal inspiration from?
I was having a think just then, and I was like, you know what? I don't know. I've always just enjoyed screaming and like performing. I mean, there's like this, obviously, like this discordance axis, and maybe early iron dissonance, like Breathing is Irrelevant or whatever era, just like really pure, like real voices. You know what I mean? Like a full-on, flat-out scream. Do you know what I mean? And I've always done bands where obviously my only role is screaming and shouting, so I've been able to just kind of push my voice as far as I can probably take it, I imagine. And yeah.
What was the singer from December called?
Oh, Mark Moots.
Mark Moots.
Yeah. But that his voice is heavily distorted, but I used to try and match his voice like naturally, do you know what I mean? But even though it's distorted on record, it's it's fiddled with a lot, you can tell. But
there's that bit in is it For Real on Adrenaline?
Oh yeah.
Where it's all peaceful at the beginning, that Deftones album, and then it goes dum.
Yeah, lots of that, lots of trying to, because I guess when you're younger as well, you don't realize like how much like the vocals are being processed or whatever, and you're trying to match that, you know what I mean? You're going, trying to get to it, and it's just like, you know what I mean? It's after it's like, oh, like it's not actually, it doesn't actually sound like that. And but the damage is already done. So yeah.
So
It's funny.
Oh no, you got it. What's up?
I was going to say it's funny. It's kind of the same on with instruments where you get like it's like horrific. I don't know, like what did I have? Like a Squire or something with like a massively high action, and it's like, wow, I've got to learn how to play Stab Wound by Necrophagist. You're like, why is this so hard? Why can't I? And the strings like this far off the fretboard. But it's good. It builds character.
Builds character, definitely. So you started writing this in April of last year, you were saying? So it's like just been like a year essentially, and you got all this stuff done.
Yeah, I think we had everything done March. Let me think. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Oh, I mean, it was finished writing it quite quickly. Actually, it must have been 4 or 5 months to write it.
That's insane. That's
yeah.
So
I started
fast.
getting material from John about September, I guess.
Holy crap! That is really fast for how like complex this music is. So how does the writing process go? Like how do you start your songs and incorporate everything?
Yeah, I mean the closest way I can just think about it is because I come from an improvising background of playing in trios and quartets, playing jazz of many different kinds. I focused all of my energy on improvising. So that is, what chord are we on? D minor. What are my options to play over D minor? I can play this triadic thing. I can play these superimposed pentatonics. I could play all manner of different chromaticisms. I could play all different kinds of scales. So that's that one chord, D minor. But now we're on E flat major 7 sharp 5. What are all my options for E major 7, E flat major 7 sharp 5? This pentatonic superimposed, blah, 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 blah. So it was trying to internalize all of that and then play a solo that was as slippery as possible in the spirit of Alan Holdsworth. So that means coming in and out of all subdivisions and making it not sound like shredding and making it sound very organic and flowing like a jazz guitar solo. So first of all, this starts with this idea of playing one chorus, so one time through of a chord sequence, and playing a decent, interesting, varied solo that goes all over the place. So then I think, right, well, let's take that as an example. Now I want to make a song that is like that solo, that flows like a solo, that only repeats when I want it to repeat, not because it's part of a form, a predetermined form. It's repeated because I think it would be good to repeat a tiny riff a couple of times. But it has to keep moving and developing and end up somewhere different to where it started. So it isn't like it isn't, I start at the beginning of the song and I have no idea what's going to happen at the end, but it starts here and then it works its way into something else, and through all different kinds of, I mean, Chris, you're a great musician yourself. You know how it works. You start at the beginning. You're not necessarily thinking about the end. Ideas are just coming and you're just trying to get them down before they leave your brain.
Dude,
and
exactly,
and then by the end of it, you're left with this kind of monster.
It's like a flow of consciousness thing.
Exactly. And that's what improvising is. It's just a stream of consciousness. And that occurs in James Joyce, in Ulysses, in Jackson Pollock, in 20th century art and literature, jazz. That's why that was all part of the same scene. This kind of thing that's evolving in the moment, that's always becoming something else, and then it's just a question of refining that and sanding off the corners and adding bits of color here and there, and then getting to a point where you're happy with it and you can say, all right, that's as good as that's going to get, or that's as good as I can make it. Next.
Yeah, because when I got the music from John as well, it's all transcribed, it's all sheet music. So he sent it to me. There's no repeats. I think there's one song that there was one section that repeated, but otherwise it was just no repeats. It's just start to finish, just completely different, the whole thing. So I was trying to record like a page at a time because there was no I can't record riff by riff because there's no riffs. It's an organic, just excretion of music.
Yeah.
Constantly flowing and building on itself. So it's difficult to kind of work out, okay, I'm going to play this section because it just kind of morphs into another section and so on. So yeah, it's basically the way it evolves. It's just a constant stream of music, basically.
It's the same way that something like, I mentioned it before, but if anybody hasn't heard the Prokofiev Russian Overture, I think it's particularly the Neem Jarvi version on Spotify. It's like a red face thing if you find it on Spotify. There's a section, I mean, the whole thing is just unbelievable, but that's the spirit that I'm kind of trying to do it in, where if you listen to the song It's Not the End off the album, there's a bit halfway through where it goes into this and it kind of goes on, and it's this big long thing that in my mind would be played by the violin section first time round. Now that is repeated, but that makes it even harder because it's a fucking long thing. So to play it all and remember it all, and it's ducking around and it's changing and it's retrograde here and then it goes like this there, and then to play it again. But the second time it's played, that's where all the harmony comes in. So there's way more chords moving around. There's way more bass motion. So it's almost like, well, there's the violin line playing this thing again. There's the double basses, maybe the cellos as well, who are going boom, 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 boom. That never repeats. And then there's the chords on the top, which would maybe be played by orchestral percussion, maybe like a xylophone, maybe Glock, maybe brass. And that, so it develops in that way. And then it comes out of that into something slightly different. The Glock kind of takes the lead line, but it's almost a direct. It's not a copy, but it's directly influenced by that piece of Prokofiev music there. But it's really hard to. I mean, again, Chris, man, your music is fucking mental. How do you explain where all the influences come from? It's like, well, this is what 36 years on the planet looks like through my filter.
That's crazy. Just listening to you talk about music, man, it makes me realize just how much I do not understand. Like, it's freaking crazy how you can apply your what do you call it? Like music theory and stuff so well to the songs. Like I kind of know a little bit about music theory, but not nearly the amount that you do. Like the way you talk about how things come together is just it's insane to me. I don't know how you can keep all that stuff straight in your head.
Practice.
right. I guess being a professional musician has something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be able to if I couldn't read the dots. I wouldn't be able to be involved with the project either. You know,
right?
It makes it easier for me if I've got all the dots there, and then kind of I'm looking at it. Okay, that's a C major triad, and then he's always going to D minor here, and then I can kind of break it down. Then that page of music becomes a page of me understanding what's being played, rather than reading. Okay, it's 1 and then 3 and then 5, and then I do that on the A string or whatever. It's easier for me to understand what's happening harmonically within the music, rather than just I don't know, reading tab as such, which would be very difficult to play this if it was just trying to read the tab, basically, I think.
Right. See, you were talking about him sending you sheet music and stuff. Dude, I'd be asking for a tab. Like, yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. Like, I sometimes get sent with other projects, people send me the guitar profiles and I'll turn off the tab and I'll just read the dots. Because it's easier for me to work out where I want to play the notes than where the guitarist thinks that I can stretch 25 frets with.
He likes to receive the lyrics in Latin as well, don't you, Reece? In the Gregorian style.
Yeah, just the ancient Sanskrit of some kind. Just make it a little bit more difficult.
But you think the thing is with Reece doesn't understand music theory or anything like that.
Nope.
But there's But Reece is an artist. You know, Reece studied art, and Reece has got a really good perception of what he likes and what he doesn't like, and a really good. It's like a much more innate sense of what to do and how to do things, which really works well with something that's quite strict. So the music's quite strict. But it's not for Reese. Reese doesn't really need to worry about that too much. I mean, you do when we do it live, Reese, because if it's
Good job counting.
But it's like Reese brings a different type of quality to it all that makes it all work really well, because it can't all be, it can't be all just cerebral all the time. It has to be organic in places, and everybody has to understand where the line is between something just being technically good and where something being emotionally charged.
Right, you have to have a feeling to it.
Exactly. That's what I love about Mahler, because that's exactly what that music is. It's like just insanely, his like gift for composition and orchestration is absolutely ridiculous, but it isn't without just super deep. I mean, there's a rocket leader. Ich bin der Welt gekommen abhanden. Ich bin der Welt gekommen abhanden. And it's the words, when they're translated from German into English, the words are just unbelievably beautiful. Oh man, you should, if you look, there's Magdalena Kozena on YouTube doing Mahler rocket leader. You'll find it there, and the lyrics, the English is in the YouTube thing, is in the comments, not the comments, the fucking description, and and they're just unbelievably amazing. So he's got clearly just spades of musical ability, but he's got the substance to back it all up with. It's all, he's got all that emotional pathos and just this incredible sort of stuff in there as well that just makes it. I'll send you the link after, Chris. You'll massively dig it. It's my little secret thing, this video.
So, John, did you write the lyrics, or Chris, did you write the lyrics?
John.
Okay. Well, I can't find any lyrics online, so I have no idea what the album's actually about. You guys got to post them to the Bandcamp so that
Oh yeah,
people could read them. So, what's the idea behind the music? I kind of got a feeling that it had to be some sort of a storyline happening, but I don't know for sure, just because it's so epic sounding. Thought it might be all connected, but yeah. What are the lyrics about?
Yeah. Oh man. So there's just so much. I'm trying to find them. I mean, let's take. Fuck, this is another monologue from me of like 10 paragraphs of me talking about stuff. It's so we talked about Utopia and what the meaning of that is. Stalker is the title of an Andrei Tarkovsky film. So broadly, the word stalker refers to that, and the point there is, it's kind of like me just saying how happy I am that art exists in the world as something that people's minds can rest in, and as something that generates ideas. So take like the process of something happening in the world, scientific. I think everything starts with an artistic concept. Everything starts with an artistic concept. It starts with an artist, or it starts with someone who's creative, creating something that doesn't exist out of nothing. That leads on to, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, that leads on to philosophy. So from art comes philosophy. So I could explain it more like from take AI, take artificial intelligence. Okay, this starts off as just an artistic novel concept, probably centuries ago, but it gets made into a philosophy in the 20th century with Wittgenstein. It then gets Heidegger makes it this. Makes it like a philosophical concept. Out of Heidegger comes Alan Turing, who makes it a mathematical reality and builds the Turing machine, which saves more lives in World War II than arguably anything else, because he decoded the German method of chocolate, which becomes AI. So you have actual functioning AI today as a result of artistic concepts that happened a century ago, more than that. I don't know. I think that everything that happens now happens because of art. That's just one element of it. But there's a lot of stuff about depression and about mental health and about people trying to live in the world, just trying to think about how other people might feel.
So it's not really a concept album. It covers a bunch of different ground.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put all the lyrics up at some point, and you can just have a look through them. They're kind of sprawling. They're about everything, Nietzsche, Cézanne, a lot of films sort of stuff, Tarkovsky stuff. The opening track, The Bus Station Roof, is just about the bus station in Preston where people just go and jump off, when they want to commit suicide. So that's the point of that. Jesus. So I was just thinking about the neurodiversity there. What place have you got to be at when you are actually prepared to stand on the edge of a skyscraper and kill yourself? Where is your mind when you're there? That's like, to try and just inhabit that space and really think about it is just mind blowing. Right. And to think that, there's people out there who you talk to every day who might well be in that place, and you wouldn't even know it. So it's kind of about just being a little bit careful about how, being too harsh on people, being too critical of people who even have vastly different opinions to you because you don't really know what they've been through. Take something like, I don't know, burglary. Someone breaks into my house and steals all my shit. I'm going to be really pissed off. I'm going to want to see him punished. It's also worth considering that this person has probably had no fucking quality of life up to this point. And that this is just where they are, unfortunately. Whose fault is it that they've broken into your house? Is it the fault of something that's been seriously underfunded, where they've not had any mental health help whatsoever, or where they've not had any of the support that they need for long enough? Where it's just incredibly like the music, it's just incredibly complicated.
Right.
And I don't know I don't know the answer. It's just like it's such an ocean of complexity that it's just interesting to think about.
Chris, were there any lyrics that you really connected with, or any favorite parts?
Yes, there's the bit in oh my god, so like in Happiness, there's the bit after like the drum solo, and it all comes back in, and it's just like it just says "Be happy in Utopia" basically on repeat, and I just thought it was a nice way of, I've never really done a band where the band's called Utopia, there's a song called Utopia, there's Utopia in like the lyrics, and I was like, oh, this all seems a bit much for me, but like it just kind of, that was the point in the album, especially like recording it was like, oh, it kind of ties everything together in like not in a cool way basically for me. And especially that point in the album, it's like when the music and the vocals and everything just kind of matches for one brief period. Do you know what I mean? Very, very brief. Everything just comes together for one point. And it makes me feel good when I listen to it.
If you've ever done mushrooms, this is something that happened to me where you just say where it all comes together, where the three is crazy, but the three sort of things there all sort of converged to be this one thing, and it's pretty amazing. But that bit there, "Be happy in Utopia," I mean, it's like there's so much to talk about. But that one bit, "Be happy in Utopia," is the song was going to be called "Happiness, We're All in It Together," because that's a billboard in City of Lost Children, and it's like, if you've seen that film, it's like a grotesque Terry Gilliam noirish kind of thing, and there's this big billboard and it says, "Be happy it says, "Happiness, we're all in it together." happiness, we're all in it together. And I thought that's like a cool, it's like poverty, we're all in it together would be the thing, but it's happiness, we're all in it together. Quite a cool like twist of words, I think.
Dude, Terry Gilliam makes some sick stuff, man. Love
yeah.
these movies, man. So you just mentioned mushrooms. Did you like write this all about mushrooms, or what's up?
No.
So let's talk about the recording process, because I'm sure it was a journey for you guys. Produced and mastered by Rob Hobson at Sound City Records, and he did a hell of a job. I imagine y'all had a really rough time, especially being in the height of COVID and all that sort of stuff. How did the recording process go?
Aaron, how do you think it
went? I mean, for me, it was all right at the beginning. Basically, I got all the parts from John, and then I'd be, starting to work. Okay, that's kind of an easier song. I'll work on that. Blah blah blah. Try and get all the easy songs out of the way. And some of the songs, it's just like, Jesus Christ, this is hard. I'll be practicing for days and days, just like taking the whole. John would send me a few MIDI file versions as well, so I could try and like play along to that to try and get my speed up and so on. So I had that in my transcribe software that would slow it down to like 40%, and then I'd try and speed up to 50, and then 60 and 70. It might take me like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days to get half a page down. Eventually I got the whole thing done, but it was it was a long torturous process to be able to kind of play some of this stuff, because it's just wacky. It doesn't fall under the fingers where it's not like it's been written by a bass player to feel good on a bass. It's John's written it as like, okay, I need you to play an E here, and then the next note is an A 2 octaves above that, because that's what I want to hear. So I'm trying to work out, okay, how can I play these parts, and I'm trying to work out a good fingering for it, and then that fingering doesn't work at 80%. I have to then change the fingering to something else. I'm quite used to that, because I'm used to kind of reading music anyway, so I'm quite used to kind of finding my own fingerings and so on. But I found it a challenge, but a good one. So I've really enjoyed the process for that, and then I got a few solos in there as well, which is nice. But overall, it's been very positive process. And then especially when it got to the mixing process as well, once I just kind of said, look, this is kind of the bass sound I want. It's the quickest mix I've ever been involved in, because Rob's just a genius, basically. He like sent back the first mix, and I was like, yeah, that's just great. Normally I'm writing I've been on a few albums, and I'm kind of writing reams of stuff. Okay, 32 seconds in here, this is clipping, and this is, change that, the volume of this needs adjusting. It just came back sounding great. It was just like, okay, that was easy.
Did you record it at home by yourself, or did you go to a studio?
Yeah, I recorded it at home. Yeah. So I had all the guide tracks. John recorded all the guide tracks. I had guide drums. I think I got. Yeah, some stuff got delayed slightly because I was waiting for the actual drums to come through, so I could then have John's guide guitar parts, and then I could play to the actual drums, and then I'd record my parts to the drums that were going to be on the album, to make sure I've got kind of the right feel, to try and make it sound as organic as possible, and not me just like playing straight along to a grid as such.
Right.
It was a good process for me. It was very creative. It was exciting because I got to try and work out how the fuck am I supposed to play these notes that have been written as notes without considering the fingers that need to play them.
What was the hardest song to record?
Smiled, You're Nodded, I think.
Yeah, it's not easy.
That was the last one I got down, because it was the one that I was practicing, and then I got another song down while I was still practicing that one, and I got another one down while I was still practicing to try and get it to the right speed. So got it down eventually. But
meanwhile, Aaron he's trying to practice his phone keeps going ding. And
have you recorded it yet?
Aaron, have you done it yet? Aaron, can you do it now? Aaron, I need it today. Yeah.
What about you, Chris? What was your experience recording this?
I honestly, it's one of the best recording experiences I've ever had. To be honest, I've done quite a few albums with like DIY, grindcore, and death metal bands, but it's because John had done all the heavy lifting already. So he'd written the lyrics, he had a clear idea of what he wanted for the patterns. I was literally there to kind of do the best, most powerful delivery I could, but we'd go through like a range of voices, basically like from high to low, and we'll just keep coming back to certain bits. It was quite creative as well, actually. It was lots of fun, really, like kind of building like how the vocals would go through the song, like high to low, and like what sounds better on this bit, what seems like the most like powerful, or what represents the music the best in this moment, what voice is it. Obviously at the end of each day my head would be fucking killing me and my voice would be sore and all that sort of thing, but I was totally satisfied at the end of every shift. We did the songs all as well in like this crazy higgledy-piggledy kind of manner. So sometimes I never had a clear idea of what the end product was going to be until I heard it. And so when I heard it, it was like hearing a band for the first time that I was on, but not recognizing myself straight away. And it's like, that's been like my dream, to hear a band I'm a part of, but not recognize myself in it. And I had that for the first time listening to when we got the first mix, and it was great. It's been a really positive experience, I would say. Very strange, but very good.
That's testament to Rob, isn't it? I can't understate how much of a savant Rob is at production. The guy is just, he knows exactly what to do, and he makes you do things again, and he'll make you just do, jump through his hoops so that he's happy, but he does it for a reason, because when it all comes out the back end, it's just beautifully formed, and Rob's just done a great job. And it doesn't necessarily sound like what I thought it would sound like. It sounds, I don't know if it sounds better or if it just sounds different, but it sounds coherent and cohesive and together. So that if it's, there's things I was asking Rob to do that he'd just say no. Rob, do you think we can just no? Yeah, I just want to move. You can't. No. Well, can you not just do it? No, I can't. Do you just want to record it again? Well, I'd rather not record it again, Rob, because it's going to take me. Just record it again. I really don't want to just record it again. Right, I'll record it again. Okay, fine. So there's kind of me whipping everybody at my end, and then Rob whipping me at his end, and then everybody giving Rob team whipping from the other direction. It was just kind of. It was a really good, intense working environment, working atmosphere, because everybody was kind of battling for their own sort of place in there, and Rob as well. Yeah.
The great thing about the mix is that there's so much going on, but you can actually, if you've got like a good set of headphones or whatever, you can work out what every single instrument's doing as well. It's not just like a wall of noise, which it could quite easily be with this kind of stuff. It could just be like, here's some sonic brutality, but it's you can still work out, the drums are playing that. I can hear the snare, I can hear the hi-hat, I can hear the bass drum. It's everything's completely here. There's the vocals there, the guitars are doing this in these two ears, and there's one in the center channel and the bass underneath. And everything's really clear. You could work out what everyone's doing, which is really nice. And it could be very easily lost in the complete craziness. And I know Rob's kind of jokes about this album kind of sent him insane a little bit, but I think he did an amazing job.
Oh yeah, you can hear every little piece. It's super well put together. So John, what was it like for you, like having to direct everything and then having to keep up with like the mixes and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's just horrible, as you can expect. It was really not a pleasure, because you just we all just want to play music and do stuff, but
did you bite off a little bit more than you could chew, you think?
I've just got no patience. I've just got no patience for anything. So I get very frustrated very quickly. And then that just bleeds out into everything else. So because I've got no patience, I end up nagging everyone. And then everyone kind of gets pissed off with me. But it doesn't affect me that. I understand. But I am just going to keep nagging everyone. So, I understand that you're annoyed at me nagging you. I am going to keep doing it. And you can think of me what you like, but ultimately this album will get fucking finished, whether it kills me. So
And you.
and you. But I mean, it was, the upshot of it all is that everybody did amazing, and everybody did it in a totally acceptable amount of time. And it just took the amount of time that it did, because it's really hard. The other thing is that there's trying to deal with 5 drummers, or trying to get that was a long process of trying to work that out logistically. Once again, Rob, I do not feel for that guy having to homogenize 5 sets of drums to make it. It's not that I wanted all the drummers to sound the same on the album, but I wanted it all to sound like the same kit.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. That was something I was gonna get to. Like, you got 7 guests total on here. Like, most albums will have like 2, maybe 3, something like that. They'll all be like vocalists, most likely. You have 5 different drummers and 2 different, well, I guess 3 different keyboardists, because you have the main guy involved also. Just real quick, you have Billy Reimer from Dillinger Escape Plan, Bard Kolstad from Leprous. I'm probably not even pronouncing his name. Lee Fisher from Fallen Limbs and Psyopus. There's no way I'm going to pronounce this guy's name right. C. Blakelock from
Simon Blakelock. That's it.
From Tangorora, and Simon Peter King. I'm not really sure where he's from, but he's one of the drummers as well. For keyboards, you got Mike Moran. The one that I can find from the UK is from Ozzy's band. Is that the same guy?
Mike. So my main job is playing with a couple of like pretty famous English classical singers. So that's what I do. So that's my day job. We go on tour and we do concert halls really, and theatres and things like that. And the musical director for the guy that I work for the most is Mike Moran. So Mike wrote, so much stuff. Do you know Time Bandits, the film Time Bandits? Mike wrote the music for Time Bandits.
Yeah. I know.
Terry Gilliam, yeah. Mike worked with Iron Maiden. He did string arrangements for Extreme. He worked with Ozzy, produced Ozzy's album, a couple of Ozzy's albums.
That's crazy.
Worked with Ian Gillan from Deep Purple. He was basically the biggest session piano player in England through the 60s and 70s.
That's crazy, man. Well, you also have Matt Baldwinson, who's from Dream Troll. I think Simon Peter King is also Dream Troll. I might be incorrect.
Cy Blakelock is Dream Troll, yeah. Cy King is he's an English jazz. he's an English musical polymath, so he just can play. On the album, he's playing drums on a couple of songs. In the band, as when we go on tour it, he's playing second guitar. He's a total freak of nature when it comes to. He's a jazz musician, but he plays drums, bass, guitar, just at keyboards at a ridiculously high level, all of them.
Well, I guess it's somewhat easy trying to like work with all these people because they're all like professionals and stuff, but still, like keeping up with 7 like guests, that had to have been insane.
Yeah, and they weren't the only people who were involved. The original drummer. My original guest drummer was a drummer called Morgan Agron. And Morgan is in Devin Townsend's band.
Okay.
And he worked with Frederick Thorndahl a lot. He's a Grammy Award-winning guy. He's just a sick drummer. So he did the first attempt at the song Happiness, and then we both listened to it back. And he just said, Morgan is an amazing drummer. And he just said, I don't think I'm the right drummer for this. You can use what I've done if you want, but I don't think I'm the right drummer for this. And I kind of agreed, and we just agreed, yeah, I think you're right there. Thanks thanks anyway. The guy's ultra busy for a kickoff. This is time-consuming, horrific music.
Right.
So after that came Billy. So then I got in touch with Billy because I knew that he would, and the brief was basically, here's the track, Billy, do not hold any punches. Put everything that you've got into it, all of your chops, just put all of your chops into it. And the same with Bard. I want to hear you in like overdrive mode for the entire duration of the song, because I don't want this to be easy for anybody the first time round. The point of this is that you have to listen to it. Probably it's just too much, and then you listen to it again, and then you listen to it again, and then you start getting the
Start
sense
putting
of
the pieces together.
Exactly. That's the point of it. That's the point, is that it's just overwhelmingly disorientating in places, and then it gives you a break sometimes, and then you're back into this other sort of crazy place, and then it might give you a break. And the same with Bard, and the same with Lee. Yeah.
Who is the easiest guest to work with?
Lee.
Okay, I can see that. He's a chill dude.
Yeah, Lee was the easiest guest to work with, because he just did. I'm not counting Aaron or Sai or Reese in any of this, because this is like the band.
Right.
But Lee was just really easy going right from the word go. Do you want to do it? Yes, definitely. Thanks for asking. Okay. Can you do it sort of reasonably soon? No, it's going to be like a couple of months. And then I just text him the next week and go, hi, Lee, can you do it reasonably soon? No, it's going to be 5 weeks away. Okay, then I text him the next week. Hi, mate. Reckon you can get this done reasonably soon? Right, I'll try and fucking do it this week. Oh, thanks. So what he was going to do like 8 weeks later, he ended up just doing all before that. And he was really, really open to guidance. I think that's the other thing. He's kind of like, because he's not, he's a different drummer to what Bard and Billy are. He's a different thing altogether. So we just had to talk. We just talked about what I wanted it to be like, and redid one or two little bits. It was just dead easy. Yeah.
Nice. So who did your artwork? We got the cover up on the screen right now.
Oh, Reese. I can't remember who did our artwork.
It's designed by artificial intelligence, AI art.
Wait, what?
Because
done by a machine?
It's done by a machine, yeah.
What the fuck?
Is it they listened to one of the songs and the machine said this is what that song sounds like or looks like?
Cool. Yeah, that would have been cool.
That's why it's a good choice.
Mm-hmm. But like I remember, because for a couple of other bands, I was considering it because I was so sick of working with artists and graphic designers, and like I was like, there's got to be an easy way of doing this, and I don't want to take work away from any creative person, but it was just an act of desperation, and I kind of put it on the back burner using this AI art thing, and then it just kind of popped up with Utopia, and I said to John, I've got the perfect fucking idea for this, and there you go.
Dude, that looks so good though. Oh my god, that fits perfectly too. Like, oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah, cool.
How did you find out about doing that stuff?
I mean, I love shit like that. You know what I mean? I do quite a few other bands, and like my kind of like role is, other than the vocals and everything, is kind of like sourcing like the artwork and t-shirt designs, and draw or doing them myself or whatever. So I'm just always looking at stuff like that, and I just find it interesting. I think I saw a BBC article, and I was like, right, I'm interested, and just read about it.
Cool.
Interesting, isn't it? Really cool.
There was a few different ones that we looked at, and I think what it does is this machine will take, like the pre-Raphaelite period, or like the early Renaissance, or like the Dutch Renaissance, and it will scan all of those paintings and then produce the common painting for all of those different things. So what they all have in common. So it's all horrible and morphed and mutated, but there'll be like a chateau visible in the back of some, or a castle, but then sort of it kind of gets confused and tries to do this other thing. So,
when it does human faces is the best, because obviously it's a good machine. It doesn't recognize like and think it recognizes like the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and like the proportions, but like there'll be like half a head, or like the face will be melting into like a body, or like an abstract shape of some kind. It's super interesting to see how the machine is interpreting, like hundreds of years worth of art. Do you know what I mean?
So what like period of art, or what pieces in particular did y'all like feed into the machine to get this?
it's a surreal section basically. So it was a surreal art, wasn't it? We went through a couple of choices, didn't we? With like different categories basically, but it was just surreal landscape art, I think was what it was that came down to.
So the website categorizes it all for you. So there's like a menu. You just pick which one you want, and then you pick, so the one that we chose, and then there'll be like 100 images, and then you have to buy the rights to this image, which is like, I can't remember how much it was, but you buy the rights to that image, and then you can it's your image, and then you can order like prints of it if you want. And
I would not have expected like landscape art to go into this, but dude, that is crazy, man. Holy crap. I need to look into doing that stuff. That's sick.
Yeah.
You also did 3 different music videos. I'm gonna start with I believe it's Happiness. Yeah, with Happiness. Whose idea was it to do this video?
I think it was all our idea. I think it was all our ideas to do it. Reese found the guy who made it, Ryan Fallon. And we recorded it in a couple of different locations. One is in like a stately home that's near my house. And we shot the first bit in there with Noah, the young lad. And then we shot the other half in Liverpool at this kind of abandoned factory with James, the older guy. And it's just, it's a fairly simple kind of concept really there. It was just a boy grows up in decadence, and then when he's older, he's kind of lost it all and it meant nothing, and he now lives in this ruined world, and be happiness in Utopia is this thing at the end. So it's kind of like, you know, you just, if you fight for the wrong things to try and make yourself happy in life, you'll never ever achieve it. If you fight for money to make you happy, or if you fight for things to make you happy, then you'll always be left short. You'll never ever be happy. So it's about, I guess, in a roundabout way, there's this kind of element of consumerism, or this element of meritocracy as well, which doesn't exist. You know, that you know, a lot of people think that they've worked really hard for the things, for all their billions, you know, but you think, has Jeff Bezos worked, 100 billion times harder than the cleaner who cleans the care home, or the carer who wipes the ass of the old person? No, it just doesn't. That scale of hard work it's not. You can't put financials. It's just bullshit, basically. Not to say that Jeff Bezos hasn't worked hard. That's not the point. But to say that money is a reflection or an indicator of how hard you work,
right?
Just doesn't withstand any logical scrutiny as a concept.
Well, he's also been given a lot of legs up that other people haven't gotten. You know what I mean?
Well, thank God that you weren't born a woman in Afghanistan. For a start, that's how lucky you are. Thank God you weren't born with a serious brain injury. That's how lucky you are, and the list goes on.
Right.
And the second video that we did, It's Not the End, was kind of a lucky. We really just needed good footage to use for a video, so we sort of imbued this existing film with meaning after we got it. That was a mate, Danny Helm, who let us use the kind of colourful thing of the woman peeling stuff off.
I was wondering if that was like stock footage or whatever. So y'all did film that then?
It was a film. It was a friend of mine, is a filmmaker, and he let us use that film as imagery to make a music video out of.
Okay.
So it wasn't a concept that we then had a film made to. It was a pre-existing film that we just sort of iMovied together to make the music video.
Okay. Well, it looks really good. Like, I totally thought this was stock footage. Y'all did really good filming this.
Go good. And then the last one is one that me and Reese did together, which was we got my phone and Reese's phone and went to we went to a farm. A friend of mine's got a farm up the road, and we went to this farm and at night and just went in all the outbuildings and like pranced around basically and interesting weird dark footage. And I went around Blackpool, the sort of incredibly deprived city not far from where I live, and filmed loads of back streets and sort of grisly looking inner city graffiti and stuff, and then we just smashed it into this meaningless, insane kind of rambling video.
It was a bit random. It was a bit random.
Yeah, it was exactly random. Yeah, it was nothing other than random.
So you were telling me before we got started that y'all have plans to tour next year. What's going on with all that?
Yeah, 4th to the 12th of Feb. I've just booked it. I just booked it all in typical style. Took a week or like 5 days to just relentlessly contact a few promoters and make them book us, really, and so we're all booked in now. I think purely just so I'd stop pestering them.
It's all UK dates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's drummer gonna be?
Ooh, good question.
I haven't nailed that down yet. Then I guess.
Great. Well, there's someone who's currently working on the tracks as we speak. There was a few people that I spoke to. Decapited's drummer was up for doing it, but he's out with Decapitated at the time. I was speaking with Agacock's drummer that Aaron put me on to, but we've kind of just stopped. We've not chatted for a bit. Who else?
So nobody that played on the album then?
No, nobody that played on the album.
But we've got one of the drummers now playing guitar instead. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone else was just like, nah, man, this is way too hard the first time. I'm not gonna.
Well, they're in the wrong countries. Is any of them actually British guys?
Well, Cy is out because he's on guitar. Cy Blakelock's the only other option, but I just don't think he's up for it.
Well, you could fly like Lee or Billy over,
That'd just be. I'd love to. It'd just be insanely expensive to do it. I would love to do it. Anyway, the guy who we've got is reassuringly terrified by it, which makes me think that he's actually listened to it properly in order to go.
Yeah, I guess if he came back, it was just me like, yeah, sure, why not? Sounds like fun. You would know that he hasn't actually like checked everything out.
Exactly that. There was a drummer from London. I mean, it was a kind of annoying, we had this drummer from London who's like a jazz fusion drummer, but he's amazing. And he said, "Oh yeah, definitely up for it. Okay, you sure? Yeah."
Did you listen to it?
Okay. He's like, "Yeah, I've listened to it. Absolutely bonkers. Well up for it. Right, because if you're up for it, I'm going to start booking the tour. So have you got these dates free? Yeah, they're free. So I'm going to book the tour. Yeah, book it. Okay, book the tour. Hey, ma'am, book the tour. Oh, yeah, I don't think I'm going to have time to do this project. You fucking knob."
That's when you know that he listened to it.
Well, he's just like, man, this is like my bugbear is people not doing what they say they're going to do. It just pisses me off.
Right.
At the expense of everything that goes on down the line, it's like, do you understand that now we've got a tour booked in and I have to find now a drummer to play it all, this music, to play it in this time period? Like, I wouldn't have booked the tour if you weren't up for, if you just said no. I'd have waited. But it's nice to have a point in time that you have to hit, I guess, a deadline.
Right. So you have someone locked in, then you're just not ready to say who it is yet.
We've got someone who's potentially locked in if he can actually play these things.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm gonna have to learn the drums.
So you guys dropped this on APF Records. This is actually the first time I've heard of them. How'd you guys hook up with them?
Reese.
Yeah, well, I know Fieldy, who runs APF. He's released one of my other bands, like EP records, and he's just a dead nice guy and dead keen on the music, and yeah, I just we propositioned it to him, and he was like, "Fucking yeah, too right. I want to do it." And he's just taking all the hard work out of it. Really, I would say, being really cool about it.
Not sure what Aaron's doing, but all right.
Aaron, you running a bath? Maybe he's just gone. Maybe he's just been sick.
I was trying so hard to ignore it.
Oh my god. So, what was the last thing you listened to? Hey, he's back.
Yeah, sorry. Nature calls.
Yeah, we know, bro.
Aaron, what was the last thing you listened to?
Fucking hell.
At Marla, actually.
Oh, was it?
Because you've been going on about it. I was like, I better just listen to some more of this stuff. So,
what was this one? What did you do?
it was 9th.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Heavy.
Very heavy.
Chris, what was the last thing you listened to, man?
Me? Sorry, was it? Fuck knows, I don't know. I'm always listening to loads of different things. Probably like something really shit, like Grimes. Probably, I don't know. I'm like really, like, yeah. I'm not. Okay. I'm no musical expert. I'm not going to pretend that I'm something I'm not. I just listen to whatever I like the sound of. That's literally it.
Well, I meant like literally the last thing you listened to. I don't know if you.
Oh, I'll tell you right now. Hang on. Last thing I listened to.
I can look as well.
Was it was Ecstatic Rites by Liturgy, like this black metal.
Yeah, Liturgy's awesome, man.
Yeah, because it's got like all the different types of like blasting. Like in that one song, there's like I don't know, like it's just really, it gets me going, that one song. Like fucking yeah. So yeah.
What about you, John?
The last thing that I think that I was listening to was this. Oh no, it wasn't. It was this version. Man,
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, Gabrielle Alpin, absolutely fucking great tune. Just like a pop. Man, what have I got on here? 74, 75 by the Canals.
Oh yeah, that's a tune.
This is a tune. Some of this is like what my daughter's been listening to. Afghanistan Part 1 from The Rest Is History podcast. And then this one. Have you seen the film Wolf Creek? Is that
like the horror movie?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. In like Australia or something, right?
Yeah, it's that Australian horror movie where these backpackers just get completely. It's horrible, but there's a bit where they're in the car and that song's playing, and I really liked it, so I looked up what it was, and it's Eagle Rock by Daddy Cool. Really good.
So, what about albums of the year so far? Anybody got one?
Honestly, I've spent too much time recording this year to actually listen to much else.
Right, I actually get that answer a lot, that people just listen to like the same stuff they've been listening to and haven't really cued in on like the current stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to. I wish I had time for it, but I've like recorded 3 albums in the last 6 months. And,
Jesus Christ!
Record another one in the next month or so.
Oh my God!
So that's what I've been listening to the stuff I'm going to be recording on repeat, so I know what it's going to. It's going to be, or the stuff I have recorded, checking that it sounds all right before it goes away to mixing, you know. Yeah, so I've been neglecting my listening stuff, basically. So,
what about you guys, Chris or John? Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I was going to say it's hard not to listen to the stuff. It's like I used this expression to someone the other day, but he's from America and he didn't know what it was. A busman's holiday. Do you know this expression, a busman's holiday?
No.
It's an English expression. Because in the 60s, everyone used to go on holiday, but they'd all just they get on a bus and they'd drive to somewhere else in England. So the bus driver, when he went on holiday, just ended up on a bus. So it's called they call it a busman's holiday. It's like musicians listening to music in their spare time is like a busman's holiday. Because I do it all the time anyway.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard. But my album of the year that I got for my birthday isn't an album that was released this year at all. It's LA Is My Woman by Sinatra, and it's the studio album with Quincy Jones arranged it all, and it's Steve Gadd, Brecker Brothers, full orchestra, Milt Jackson, George Benson. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's just such a lesson in that era of the New York session musician, going to the studio and doing it in one take, and not only doing it well, but doing it to like a ridiculous level.
That band sounds incredible.
Oh, it's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. And Sinatra, Sinatra is one of my favorite musicians, if you could call him singer musicians. He's like, you can learn so much about it if you write the crazy music that we make. Just the way that his phrasing is amazing. His like commitment to the lyric is amazing. His charismatic delivery is amazing. It's why people like Mike Patton sing the way that they do. It's from listening to people like Sinatra or listening to people like Bjork as well. It's just that, real incredible organic commitment to the song. Because you know what it's like. You can hear these albums that are just amazing technically. This is why, I don't know, but we all know, we all heard these albums that are technically amazing.
And I don't have the feeling.
There's just no feeling. I just think this is just like an incredible etude, but it belongs in guitar tuition manuals, or this is just like a drum etude of you do this and then you do this and then you do that. Great, okay, I like it, but it's not very. I don't understand why. It's just very impressive. It's like sports music. I don't get this sports music element from Sinatra or Bjork. I get real soul from all that stuff.
I like that sports music. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean just to put something at the end there. It doesn't take away from any music that people do. It's not me accusing anyone of everything, because they do it. People make music as a therapeutic thing, so whatever gets you off.
Right. Well, like people like different shit. You know what I mean? So
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's cool to hear someone that makes metal like talk about Frank Sinatra. Like that's pretty crazy. I love his stuff too. I grew up in like the oldies and stuff, so But you never hear people mentioning that like in our kind of scene, so that's pretty interesting.
Corey Taylor was I saw a clip of Corey Taylor and he was talking about Sinatra yesterday, actually.
Oh, alrighty.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Chris, what's your album of the year so far?
Well, I just had a quick look, and I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but the last, it's not necessarily my favorite album so far, but it's the last album I've listened to in full. Is that new Deaf Heaven album, Infinite Granite?
Oh, I haven't checked that out yet. I need to check.
You know what? There's no screaming. I'm feeling it. I quite like it. Shoegazy. Some of it sounds like Oasis, which is really bizarre, but like actually quite cool, I think. Yeah.
Alrighty. So you guys have shirts, CDs, and vinyl over at utopiabandmetal.bandcamp.com. I guess you don't have any on hand that you can show us real quick.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, people could head on over there and check that stuff out. It's about all I had to talk about, unless you had something else you wanted to bring up.
We've got we're going to have some new T-shirts done pretty soon that are just going to be available through the Facebook page. I think we'll have to figure out how to sell them. I'll probably choose a medium where we get like 30p of the profit, and some horrific platform that we just get incredibly rinsed for. But anyway, they'll be available. And then there's the tour and the vinyl. There's been a bit of a delay on that. That won't be coming until January, but you can still order it at the on the Bandcamp thing.
Yeah, at least you'll still get the download straight away, but you won't receive the vinyl in the post until whenever it's printed, like
right, and like every
2022, I
band's
think.
been having delays in vinyl and stuff. So it's
Yeah, there was one of the other projects I've been on, is they've had to. They didn't have to, but they decided to move the release date of the album back because there's such a delay on the vinyls. So
right.
Oh, something else pretty cool. Reese's mate and friend of the band, John Cook from Napalm Death, and Corrupt Moral Altar is going to do a couple of weird industrial remixes of a couple of Utopia tracks.
Oh, that's
which should
sick.
which should be really interesting. We're just trying to pick the ones that would lend themselves best to something like that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Reese's other band, Corrupt Moral Altar, has got John in. So that's how that hookup works. It's kind of yeah.
Damn. Alrighty. Good. So if you ever wanted to hear what Pink Floyd sounds like as an extreme metal band, you need to check out Stalker, Utopia's debut album, which dropped last Friday through APF Records. You guys are on Facebook, Bandcamp, Instagram, and YouTube, and all streaming services. Is there anything that I'm missing? Any social plugs I'm missing?
I have an email.
Okay.
And you can write a letter to us as well.
Alrighty. As for me, drop my channel follow so you always know when I go live. You can also sub to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming services, as well as some exclusive emotes. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and YouTube, folks. If you like the video, please drop a like, click the notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe. It's a great way to support me for free. Check out my music, The Sound That Ends Creation, at thesoundthatenscreation.bandcamp.com. This Friday, pre-orders for my 6th album open up, so get hyped for that. My next guest is Lower Automation. Join us this Sunday the 5th at 7 p.m. Central for the live cast. Thanks for being here, guys. Hope you had a good time.
Thanks for having us, Chris.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks.
Hell yeah.
Good luck with the album launch. Chris's music is absolutely off its tits as well, so it's well worth checking out.
Your tits will be off. Thank you guys for watching and listening.